Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Visionary VA podcast. I am delighted today to welcome Suzy Sanders, founder and franchiser of Alchemy Virtual Assistance UK. After leaving a corporate career following the birth of her son, Suzy built Alchemy from her home office in 2016, guided by strong values around integrity, honesty, family and collaboration. She's an award-winning VA business owner, speaker, author, mentor, and podcast host, and is widely known for her community-driven approach to entrepreneurship. More recently, Suzy launched the Alchemy VA franchise to support and empower other VAs to build successful businesses under a shared ethos and brand. So welcome, Suzy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, Holly, thank you for having me. It's such a privilege to be able to chat with such inspirational and inspiring people and call it work.
Absolute pleasure. Let's jump straight in then. So maybe you could start for us just by sharing a bit more about your journey to just becoming a VA and what led you to set up your business on your own.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So Alchemy Virtual Assistance will be 10 in 2026. And prior to that, I spent my career in the corporate world as an executive assistant. And actually, I'm not shy about the fact that my son was the reason for exploring different ways of doing things. And he's 10 now as well. After I fell pregnant with him, I didn't adjust to motherhood very well at all. And when I went back into the office, I found myself having the what am I doing moments when everyone was fighting over who'd got their mug or who jammed the copier and not dealt with it. And I was standing under these fluorescent lights and I just remember thinking, this is not me now. I love my career. I want to keep a career, but my family come first and I come first now. So I had come across the term of a virtual assistant when I was on maternity leave. And honestly, I was definitely at rock bottom. I was like, what have I got to lose? Let's give it a whirl. So I set up freelance and it snowballed from there.
Amazing. And how quickly did your business grow? You obviously started on your own, but did you go through the route of building a team then?
It's really funny because if I think back, the day that I left my job, I was so worried about being able to find clients. That was the main worry of mine, being able to pay the bills, having the skills, being good enough. And actually, it happened a lot on reflection, a lot quicker and a lot easier than perhaps I perceived it to be at that moment in time. It grew quite quickly and I did start working with a couple of associates early on out of need. And around that time, I started getting a lot of people asking me if I could help them do it as well, if they wanted to be VAs. I ended up taking on some mentoring relationships as well. The experience of having associates is an underestimated one. I think a lot of people miss a lot of the intricacies of it. It was quite challenging. And particularly for me at the time, having a strong desire to want to support others. I wanted to help my mentees. I wanted to keep my clients happy. I wanted to keep my team happy. I'd still got a really young baby recovering from postnatal depression. I wasn't sleeping and it all got a bit too much too quick for me. And actually sitting down with my husband around that time and telling him that I was going to quit and go and get a job because it felt easier. And that was a real pivotal moment for us as a family, myself as an individual, but for the future of the business and what we wanted it to be as well. So that was a real defining moment.
So how quickly did you go from that model of having the associates to moving towards the model that you've got now? Was that the point you decided to think about franchising? And how did you come up with the idea for that?
It probably was building blocks for a long time. There wasn't a defining moment, but that conversation with my husband, Paul, who's now my business partner and Alchemy's managing director, I'm the boss. May I just put that on record?
Very important to get that in.
Very important. But it was actually full credit to Paul because I wouldn't be where I am now, who I am now, without his support and commitment. And when I said I'm going to give up, he was like, I will support you wholeheartedly, but I will really struggle to watch you walk away from this. Maybe there was some grape juice involved, but I said, are you going to come and help me? And he said, yeah, I am. Because he didn't like his job. He was working long hours. He was away from the family. He was missing everything. So we thought, okay, we can pool our efforts here. We did try him as a VA. Did not work for anyone. He was terrible at that. He will be the first to admit. But actually, that was a useful lesson for us because we realised that his skill set was much more suited to the things that I lacked. And it was him that kept coming to me saying, we need to franchise. And at the time, I was hard no, because I had some really misguided misconceptions about actually what the word franchising meant and what that as a business model could be. And I just kept saying no. And he kept coming back to me saying, look, I love you, but I think you're missing the point here. You want to serve a client base in a really meaningful way because you know the difference VAs make. You want to help others. You're really good at training and mentoring and guiding, and you've got all of this. We can bucket those things together. You know what new VAs need, you know what struggles you've had. Let's work with this to really leverage what we're doing, make it more accessible to more people, and fill my fulfillment buckets up. And I went, okay, let's have a look at that because that sounds great.
Yeah.
And then we started to just explore it a little bit more and shape how we were going to go about it.
Brilliant. So explain a bit more then about how it works, because I actually probably don't also understand the intricacies. So if someone comes to you now and says, I'm interested in building a franchise business, give us the ins and outs of what that actually is.
Well, firstly, all franchises are different. And I can speak from my experience and how we approach it and what Alchemy is all about. But each franchise is different. They have different systems, different models, different values, different setup. Every franchise is different. At Alchemy, our approach is that we help people build their own sustainable, rewarding and flexible VA businesses. So they get our brand, they get our guidance, they get our training, they get our support, they get access to our clients, and we walk with them on the journey. So they're not just buying a business in a box or just buying a training course. It's a bit like a weird marriage, Holly. For better or worse, we're committing to support each other for mutual success. And there's lots of things to that. A lot of people underestimate the impact of buying into a brand that's already established, a website that's had 10 years worth of SEO work on it, all those little intricacies, which are the non-billable stuff that really bog a lot of new VAs down. God, it bogged me down. My first website was... So there's a lot to it. But like all things, it's not for everyone.
So the franchise network that you've built now, so roughly like how many people have got the franchise? How many people are in your sort of wider team?
So we have 9 franchise locations across the UK currently, and our first franchise partner launched in 2020, 2 months before lockdown, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And some of our franchise partners do run an associate model, some are solo. We've got the flex on that as well. So it's interestingly, we're getting more interest from overseas, but I'm focused on the UK for now.
Okay. Yeah. And do you work with a particular type of client or a certain industry, or is it quite varied?
It's quite varied because I work really closely with our franchise partners to make sure that they're aligned. They're working with the right clients, the right industries, they're leveraging their experience. So it is quite broad, but loosely speaking, they do tend to be more solo, smaller businesses. We do have some obviously larger organisations as well, but they tend to be in the professional services space as well.
But it's very much shaped around that specific VA and their skills rather than it being your business as a client base. Yeah. Fantastic. And so your day-to-day role in the business now, so I presume that you've no longer got that associate team and you're not doing client work. Are you just focused on managing the franchisees?
Yeah, my sole focus is supporting our franchise partners and keeping the Alchemy business and brand running. I do still have the occasional client because I love it. I love it. And I think actually it's important for me to remain close to the work and what I'm doing, and it keeps my brain fresh. So I do occasionally have take an odd client on here or there, but my primary focus is making sure that our franchise partners are supported, and day to day that looks so different.
And I know that you've really successfully used kind of media and PR opportunities to help grow the business and the brand, and as well as winning awards. So can you talk a little bit about that and how you've used that to really drive the business?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think I have a very relationship based approach to business. And I think the reason that we started to invest in PR was because I met an incredible human being who I just clicked with, who ran a PR agency. And actually, we formed a good business friendship and we softly started exploring what was right for us at the time. I think with PR, it has to be an investment, it has to be a commitment. It's, again, another long-term strategy. We have invested heavily because we knew where we wanted to be, who we wanted to speak to. Every time we've done a press release, there's been multiple benefits to that. Obviously, it's giving us credibility, it's given us something to talk about, but it's given us reach as well. There's no point in being incredibly skilled if no one knows about you. We realised quite early on that if we were going to do what we needed to do, we needed to put ourselves out there in that way. And actually it's worked insanely well for us. Me personally, from a reflective point of view, when you've got someone sitting with you saying, we want to talk about this, what have you achieved, or how have you done this? So it's a really lovely reflective opportunity, which when we're running on the day-to-day, we don't always give ourselves that chance, do we? But it has opened a lot of doors for us as well, and we've been able to run with that as well. So yeah, it's been a very slow burner.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that people often underestimate, right? It can be expensive, time consuming, and you have to be in it for the long haul. But like I say, if you've got that really clear direction about where you want to go, who you want to be, you have to tell everyone about it, because you can very easily sit there and think, oh, people will find me, I'll suddenly get the spotlight. You won't. Actually, you have to go out there creating your own visibility. And I know it's something a lot of the VAs I talk to, they really struggle with, that shouting out and saying, I'm great, this is my business, look at us, look how brilliant we are and how well we serve our clients. But it's something you have to do if you want your business to be successful.
And actually, the slow, sustainable approach with our PR investment suited me as well, because there's that ick. Even I remember even putting the first LinkedIn post about my business. I remember I felt physically sick because there is that vulnerability, isn't
really
there?
Cringe.
But you're 100% right. If you're not out there and you're not visible, then you're going to be the best VA in the world with no clients.
Absolutely. You've got your 3 clients and you might get the odd referral, but no one knows. And that's why having the awards is such a great thing, giving people that opportunity to put themselves forward and actually be judged against their peers, and even just to get nominated or shortlisted, never mind actually winning. It's also such a great process to go through, because you do, like you say, reflect on your business and your journey and look at where you've come from, where you want to go, what's next. It's a really great exercise just in itself.
Absolutely, so valuable for that. I don't see it as a kind of comparison judgy thing, even though there is judging. It's more of a take stock moment. Here's what I've done, here's what I'm doing, and sharing that with you. If you don't put your hat in the ring, you're not going to get picked.
No, absolutely not. So you mentioned that obviously your role in the business now is day-to-day looking after the franchisees. Your husband's still working with you, is he?
He is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a team within your business as well, helping you run things behind the scenes, or is it just the 2 of you?
Core, it's just the 2 of us. We do rely on external expertise for various different things, but yeah, core is just the 2 of us at the moment.
And what about plans for the future? Do you just want to continue to grow the franchisee model, or have you got anything else up your sleeve?
Oh, I've always got lots of things up my sleeve. That's the challenge. We are focused on slow, sustainable growth. I think we could have had double the amount of franchise partners by now, but they wouldn't have necessarily been the right ones. So we do want to have more coverage, more community in the UK. I do have international plans, but only at a point that the operations in the UK established. I've always got a little passion project from the go as well. I'm writing my 3rd book at the moment. I've got my coaching practice as well. And I do have now 2 children, and actually spending time with them is the most important thing. So I need to make sure that I'm not overstretching in it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something I do that myself so easily, because I have so many ideas and I want to do all the things. It actually takes quite a lot of effort to be selective about that and decide what you're going to prioritize and where you are going to actually focus your time and energy. It's so hard not to get pulled in all these different directions, isn't it?
And the irony, that's what we do with our clients a lot of times, is just keeping them in check and strategic and aligned and getting things moving. But this works for me. I have a little project notebook. Whenever I get a shiny idea, I write it down. So I've got this book of like crazy ideas, and that scratches the itch for me, just knowing that I've got it all collected.
Yeah, brilliant. And you can keep coming back to it, can't you? And if you keep coming back to that same idea, it's something you're really drawn to, and actually you think, actually, I should sit down and explore this a little further and see if it's actually the next right thing for me to do. What advice would you give to anyone who is thinking about growing their VA business? You've obviously tried a couple of different routes with yours, but any sort of specific advice you give to someone who's exploring where to go next?
Oh, so much. It's a difficult question. Beyond the obvious of kind of backing yourself and believing in yourself, when I spoke at the PA show in 2025, I did a session. And actually, for me, that was a really reflexive session on actually what's helped me achieve my definition of success. I realized it was three areas, and I call them the three C's.
Okay.
So it's competency, community, and credibility. And it's developing those three things equally. So competency is what you know, investing in your skill set and your capabilities. Community is who you know, who's supporting you. And credibility, this is the visibility piece, who knows you. Because if you haven't got those three things and you're not developing those three things equally, growth's going to be harder, momentum's going to be harder. So I think it is believing in yourself, backing in yourself, and making sure that you're developing those three C's equally. That's definitely helped me.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. And even I think if you're not sure where you want to go and what you want to do next, by building those three really important foundations, actually, you'll be amazed at what opportunities come up and the direction you can get carried along sometimes just by building those really solid foundations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even on those days where you want to give up, because I don't believe there is a business owner out there that hasn't had a I give up day or multiple. Challenge me if you disagree. But like you say, those things are foundational and they will serve you regardless of what direction you choose or you flow in or whatever, as long as you're showing up for yourself in those ways. And go gently as well. It's rough out there, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And if anyone is interested in the franchising model, who's your ideal client to come along? What do you look for when you're trying to find those ideal VAs to take on a franchisee?
That is a really interesting question. I've spent a lot of work on this over the years. And when we first looked at franchising, this isn't my ego speaking, I promise, but we were looking at people like me who had a drive for flexibility, that professional EA, PA experience. But actually, as we've grown, that's shifted. And I think there's so many transferable skills. I think, without boring you with a big plethora of all of my ideal client work, I look for curiosity, passion, drive. I look for real personality, because I believe if you've got the right attitude, the rest can be learned. But the mix of skill sets that we have in our business at the moment is, really had changed my mind on what I thought we were going out to achieve. Yeah, that didn't really answer your question, did it?
No, that's fine. But I think with any business you're building, I think that openness to flexing and growing and evolving is so important. I've had that journey myself with my business in 7 years. It looks so different at every stage. And actually, there's nothing wrong with changing. You can try something and go a different direction. And that's the beauty of having your own business. You have options. And I think people get really worried and fixated on, oh God, I've got to be successful at this one thing. I've got to do it this way. Actually, you don't. It's your business, your life. Do what you want to do. You do you.
100%. A cliche, but change is the only constant, isn't it? Yeah, as human beings, we fear it, don't we? But it took me a good few years to realise that and really embrace that, though, because I think there's a part of our franchise launch training that when I run it, most of it is a lot of mindset work, but obviously a lot of practical stuff as well. But it's like decorporatization of people as well. When you've spent your life being employed, you need to make that shift to entrepreneur, and it's a big one. It's a big one, definitely.
You've got to think differently, act differently. You're in a completely different position, aren't you?
Definitely. And it's a joy.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I'm so pleased to hear that you've got to a place where you've built a business that you really love and it's working for you and serving your life and your dreams. I think that's what it's all about. So it's really great to hear a success story when it's worked out the right way for someone. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat today. Thank you so much. Where is the best place for anyone to find you, for anyone that's interested in the franchise model or would just like to learn a bit more about you and Alchemy?
Oh, thank you, Holly. And I must just say, no success story is solo, is it? I think there's always an invisible web of people, and it is a privilege to be able to support such brilliant people. But I hang out on LinkedIn most of the time, so look me up on LinkedIn. Always happy to have a conversation.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll put the links in the show notes. Thank you so much, and hopefully chat again soon. Thanks for tuning in today and for continuing to listen, share, and support the podcast. It really means a lot. I'll be back on the 5th of February with another episode of the Visionary VA podcast. And if you're thinking about business growth for this year and contemplating whether building a dream team is the next right move, do check out episode 29, where we reflect on just that. I'll pop a link below. And if you're looking for some support from a great community as you build your VA business, come over to the Visionary VA Facebook group, where we have an awesome community of VAs building their business in exactly this way. See you next time.